Welcome back to another episode of Before You Pull, the show where we cut through the hype and actually look at the raw data and give you my absolute first impressions on the newest units hitting the servers. I'm your host, and today we're putting the spotlight on Zegreus, the princess of the Underworld. Now usually when you hear the word assassin in a gacha, you think of a fragile physical DPS that jumps in the backlines and bursts in a single target, right? Well, for Zegreus, throw that completely out the window, because Zegreus is breaking that rule by being more of a crowd control specialist. She belongs to both the Elemental Echo and the Arcane Wisdom faction, but her entire kit revolves around massive magical damage and screen-wide area of effects, just simply locking the enemy team down with hard crowd control. She plays a critical role in the Elemental Echoes teams since she thrives on chaining elemental reactions to freeze the board and stall out boss mechanics. But is this rebellious Greek princess actually worth draining your gem stash, or is she just another niche unit that's going to collect dust on your bench? Let's look at her lore, break down the numbers, and figure out if you should be pulling for her. In the deepest, darkest trenches of Greek mythology, a prophecy was written in blood and shadow. Zegreus was born not to rule the underworld, but to be a victim of it. At the exact moment of her birth, her father, Hades, received a chilling vision. His daughter was destined to die a painful, tragic death, only to be reincarnated later as a god. To defy fate, Hades became a warden rather than a father, unwilling to watch his daughter suffer the pain of mortality. He locked her away, he protected her strictly, wrapping her in a gilded cage and forbidding her from ever setting foot outside the realm of the dead. But a caged god does not stay quiet. Zegreus did not inherit her father's love of the dark. She inherited the cold, absolute silence of death itself. Wielding arcane frost, she shattered the chains of her destiny, transforming from a shattered princess into a lethal phantom of the snow. And then she picked up ice skating lessons or something. With that icy rebellion, pretty much matches her gameplay exactly to what that feels like. She blinks in, drops an absolute blizzard on the enemy, and then freezes the backline before they even know what hit them. Alright, now let's talk about mechanics. Zegreus' entire identity relies on her talent, Rose Sword. This is her crowd control engine. Whenever Zegreus applies the chill effect, or is hitting an enemy that already has chill, or evaporate, she triggers a massive explosion, dealing 430% bonus magical damage, and then inflicts freeze again for 4 seconds. And here's the brutal part: energies caught in the freeze have their rage regeneration efficiency slashed in 60%. She doesn't just stop them from moving, she completely starves them out of their ultimates. Now, because she relies so heavily on triggering these elemental reactions, her scaling is incredibly dependent on hitting the right talent milestones. And even though she is part of the Arcane Wisdom team, if you already have a Fenrir, Zegreus might not add as much value. However, if you are deeply invested into the red team, Zegreus is probably going to be your best bet for an assassin. Now, each copy is going to run you about 15,000 gems, so let's actually look at the value stops so that you can make your best decision and then save as many resources as you can for future banners. Starting with the budget sweet spot, which is talent level 3. If you are a free-to-play or a low spender, this is your goal. For 3 copies and 3 slimes, she gets a flat 10% attack boost and an extra 50 accuracy. Since her overdrive relies on landing multiple hits to stack chill chances, that accuracy is vital. Stop here if you want a reliable crowd control unit for your Elemental Echo team. Now for the main team entry, we got the 1 red star or the talent level 4. This is where she becomes a true combo enabler. At level 3, every time an ally triggers an elemental reaction, the cost of Zegreus' next ultimate is reduced by 1. This turns her into an ultimate spamming machine. As long as your team is applying statuses, she will be spamming her ultimate. Then finally, if you're just wailing out and you're watching this video for whatever reason, her level 7 talent extends her freeze duration from 4 seconds up to 6 seconds and completely zeroes out the enemy's rage recovery. They gain absolutely nothing while being frozen. This can end up being game breaking in PvP and PvP, but it does require some heavy gem investment. And she's going to be a pain to deal with if you're running the wild team. Now, if you actually want Zegreus to perform, you have to build her around attacking as fast as physically possible. So for your subclasses, you're going to go with either the Outlaw or the Forest Bandit at tier 3. Both give her an 8% HP boost, which she will desperately be needing to survive her own overdrive blinks, along with either magic or physical defense depending on the boss that you're fighting. Now for your armor sets, you need the full arcane set: hood, robe, gauntlets, and boots. This will give you your haste bonus, boosting her haste abilities by 10, which essentially means faster skill cycling, which means more blinks and more blizzards. For your weapon and your accessory, the Silver of Demon Hunting and the Wolf's Will accessories will probably be your best bet. This pair triggers the Focus set, which is the most important part of her build, since it grants 24% attack speed and 240 hit. Why do you even need the attack speed? Well, because her overdrive unleashes 10 instances of damage, each with a low base chance to inflict chill. So the more speed and the more hits that you're able to do, you're just mathematically guaranteeing the freeze proc every single rotation when you pull out the ultimate. And if you don't remember what accuracy is, it's essentially the value that will be countering block to make sure that every hit that you're doing is actually landing on the unit and has a higher chance of actually freezing them and generate that crowd control for you. Now her skill rotation is incredibly aggressive. With her overdrive blizzard, she physically blinks directly to the target location and unleashes an AoE blizzard hitting up to 10 times. Thanks to her divine skill, Netherworld Snow, this also shreds the magic defense and attack speed of anybody that ends up getting caught on this attack. Now for her special, Instant Shadow Slash, she unleashes a flurry of slashes dealing 680% magic damage, but the kicker here is that she becomes completely untargetable during her animation. So if you actually time this right, she can dodge massive attacks from your enemies completely for free. Also, if you have her level 2 talent unlocked, every time you freeze an enemy, the cooldown of this slash drops by 4 seconds. And then lastly, the ultimate Frozen Moments. A quick 7-second cooldown ice projectile that hits for 390% damage and also applies chill, setting up the board for her massive explosions. We're going to be adding this new section to the Before You Pulls, and it's just a quick overview of what Howlkins would benefit this specific character and the teams that you're trying to build. Since she is an assassin, something like the Scorpio Zodiac Howlkin would be very good because it will boost the assassin crit rate. Something like the Bardic Werewolf, if you don't have any Zodiac Howlkins, would also be very good to level up since you get some additional assassin crit with that as well. And then something like the Spectre Executioner, aka Freddy Krueger, so you can actually get some assassin accuracy so that can maximize the amount of hits that actually land that have the potential to inflict freeze, so you can just keep snowballing these effects. So the TLDR is any accuracy and crit for assassins will be your go-to Howlkins to level up if you really want to maximize everything that you can from this unit. So should you be pulling for the Princess of the Underworld? Well, if your plan is to run the endgame Elemental Echo team, and you need a reliable high uptime crowd control unit to sit in your bench and sub in for massive burst freeze setups, yes, absolutely pull. If you can get her to talent level 3 or 4, she will lock down high level PvE content and will help you generate a whole bunch of elemental reaction procs for your Elemental Echo team. However, if what you're looking for is a hyper carry for your team, or if you're just really not planning on running the elemental reaction teams, then just skip her. She requires a team that plays around her chill and evaporation reactions, and she cannot solo carry any account without the right elemental setups. But what do you think? Are you actually dropping gems to get Zegreus? Let me know down in the comments, I do read all of them.